No game has changed the way I view horror more than Omori. Before Omori, I thought I didn't like horror. But the moment the credits started rolling, I knew I discovered a game truly special. Ever since, I've played a plethora of psychological horror games, many of which I enjoyed, but there's something about Omori that still keeps me up at night. Spoilers ahead and trigger warning for depression, anxiety, and self-exit. For the longest time, I thought horror meant scary monsters or jump scares. Horror meant cheap thrills, and I liked deep, emotional, heartfelt stories. That's why it took me years after release to finally pick up Omori, and I only did so because everyone around me was raving about the game. I went into it with only the knowledge that it had a good story. The Steam description is pretty vague, a RPG about exploring a vibrant world with your childhood friends and uncovering a forgotten past. Omori tells the story of Omori, the titular character, and why his childhood friend group is fractured. Omori takes place half in Headspace, an imaginative fantasy world where Omori and his friends go on silly adventures, and half in Faraway Town, the real world where Omori must confront the truth of what happened to his friends. For the first third of the game, I had no idea why it was tagged horror. I found Omori kind of slow-paced. I didn't see the purpose of Headspace, and I didn't get Faraway Town either. For a lot of the game, I'm just hanging out and doing wacky quests with my friends. I sensed something about our friend group was astray, but that was quickly overshadowed by battling my pet rock and organizing tools. As the game progressed, I slowly grew an affection for my ragtag friends. One of Omori's strengths is making the world truly feel alive, done through character-rich dialogue, inside jokes like finding Hector the pet rock, and its battling mechanic, which literally uses the group's emotions to overcome enemies. But as the story slowly revealed its darkness and the big twist, I was disturbed, gutted, and shocked. Only after did I realize that the unassuming and lively nature of Headspace was what made the twist hit so hard emotionally. Just like how Omori uses Headspace to distract himself from the dark truth of what happened, I use Headspace to distract myself from the unsettling suspicion that something was deeply wrong. Headspace is fun. The problems in it feel exaggerated and lighthearted, like confronting the leader of the space pirates after his girlfriend breaks up with him. The environment and characters in Headspace feel like a kid's imagination, a playground, a gambling resort filled with sharks and rainbow stairs. But in the same way these imaginative worlds delight and suck you in, they do so for Omori, making him forget what truly matters: real life. Real life isn't fun. In real life, Omori is alone. He's a hikikomori, which is a Japanese slang term for someone who has severe social withdrawal. While he still holds onto the remnants of his friend group by spending his remaining days with Kel and Hiro, things aren't the same. There's tension between them. Aubrey is with a different, more rebellious friend group. Basil has given up photography, his passion, and Mari is missing. Omori contrasts the bright world of Headspace with the grim reality of Faraway Town, preparing you for what you think is the true ending of Omori. Mari is gone because she self-exited. The group has been in disarray since her passing. Things can never be the same. That's why Kel and Hiro show kindness to Omori despite his silence. They feel bad that he's lost his sister, his best friend. His coping isn't healthy, but losing someone you love is never easy, right? That's until the true ending of Omori hits, which I consider one of the most disturbing moments in a piece of fiction I've ever witnessed. This moment is what marks Omori as the epitome of psychological horror. Omori murdered Mari, his own sister, and Basil witnessed it all. Omori and Basil then go on to stage Mari's death as a self-exit. For the vast majority of the game, Omori is not scary at all. It's cute and charming and whimsical. It feels like a fun escape from reality, even my own reality as a human being who lives my life and then plays games for fun. But when the reveal hits, I realize that Omori has tricked me all along, in the same way he's tricked all of his friends. I felt for Omori in the same way that Kel, Hiro, and Aubrey did. Omori's not a perfect person. He neglected his friends, and he sucks at communicating his feelings. But this? Who have I been playing as? Can I forgive Omori and in turn forgive the darkest parts of myself? What makes Omori so special is that it forces the player to confront their own darkness. For most of the game, you want Omori to save himself. You want his friends to go back and piece together what remains of their group. But when this is revealed, you question your own emotions for the entire game. How could you do this to the person that you loved the most? How could you traumatize one of your best friends and abandon them in this terrible time? Omori manipulated me, but I don't feel like a victim either. By having Omori as the playable character, the game makes you question at what point is someone a bad person? At what point is someone unforgivable? It forces you to look at your most shameful parts, things that you regret. I'm lucky to have a good group of friends, but before this, I was very lonely. After a while, Kel, Hiro, Aubrey, Basil, Mari, they feel like your own friends. Omori ripped that away from himself, but also me, the player. The conflict of what is right and wrong is what makes Omori a perfect piece of psychological horror. I played Omori years ago, but I still don't have the answers to these questions. As I grow up, I will continue to make mistakes, but I will also strive to be better. I've dealt with mental health problems in the past. I've dealt with panic attacks growing up, and I've been medicated for depression. I have chronic insomnia. I have my own internal darkness, which I try my best to express in positive ways, like making this video or making my horror game Lily's World XD. Despite my best efforts, I've also been selfish. I've said things I don't mean. I don't like being the bigger person. Omori brings up my own troubled feelings and asks me what type of person do I want to be in the future. This game has disturbed my very being, and that's what makes this damn good psychological horror. In the end, I wonder if it even matters how Omori's friends react. I want to think it was all forgiven, even though I don't think I could forgive. This tension is really what has me thinking about Omori all these years later. If you're still here, I assume you're a big Omori fan, so I want to do a little Omori merch collection. I have a good amount, I wish I had more, but here are some of my favorite Omori items that I've collected, starting with this shirt. So starting with my desk, I have these prints hung up. I have all of the characters, but these are just the two that I have hung up. I have an Omori keychain. This is actually an art piece from the manga. And I have this Omori box that I actually got as a gift. And when you turn it, it displays different scenes in Omori. I have this set of some of the Polaroids from Omori. I went to the Omori Collab Cafe in Sunright, so I have some coasters in the back. Here is the final coaster. I know it's behind a lot of things. I have another keychain from the manga. And lastly, I have this keychain of Sweetheart. If you are a fan of the psychological horror genre, I have a game for you, Lily's World XD. You investigate a young girl's computer. Search her computer files, social media, and diary. Everything seems normal until you find messages addressed to you, the player. If you like story-driven games or games with rich characters, this is a perfect game for you. You can wishlist it on Steam. Oh, and I made it so you'd be supporting me a lot as an independent developer. I have a free newsletter where I go more into the behind the scenes of my game development. You can follow me on my other socials and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.